Welcome back to Geeks and Grounds, a monthly game club where we play games together and brew good conversation. Also together.
Also together.
Also together.
Also together.
My name is Jenny.
And I'm Joel.
And we're ready for another fresh brew. Got another pot percolating and a new game ready to play for the month of September.
I love this. See, I'm not a percolator. I'm more like we got the water boiling. That's kind of where I am for like that's how I get down.
Nice.
But yeah, I get it. Percolating. We're good.
Yeah,
okay.
No, I've got like this little percolator that we use to make coffee here at home. Oh, it's so good.
It's very The Last of Us.
It is. We're ready for the apocalypse, so nothing will stop us from getting our cup of joe.
Yeah. What are we doing this month, Jenny?
Let's see. Well, before we hop into that, quick housekeeping.
Yes.
On Apple and on Spotify, if you listen to us via those platforms, you have the opportunity, if you like what we do, to leave a review or a rating. We highly would appreciate it if you did. It just allows us to not only get little happy sparkles of satisfaction in our lives, but also it helps us get out in front of more folks, because that's how the algorithm works on the internet. So if you take the time, just a second to do that, that would be highly appreciated.
Help us out with the algs.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't feel good on the tongue.
No, but I mean, the algorithm doesn't feel good on the tongue, so... I'm just...
Okay, the algorithm doesn't feel good on the tongue. That's the name of this little episode.
Yes, it's true. And last housekeeping note before we hop in, drum roll, we are going to be moving from a approximate bi-weekly format, to ease into a more weekly format. We like hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
And we wanted to provide the opportunity to not do maybe such hefty episodes that are maybe harder to digest. We're going with the food metaphors here. But smaller bites that are a bit more continuous. So it's just a little bit easier to stay on track, stay on top of what's going on. And it provides us the opportunity to talk about other stuff like the pour over materials that are in every newsletter. We don't usually get to bring those in, and it's an opportunity for us to actually integrate those in the conversation, because we include them for a reason, and also to just share a bit more about ourselves.
Yeah. You know, if you think about it like this, we're in our 8th month of this podcast experience, which is pretty wild.
I guess 9th by the time this will be starting our 9th.
Starting our 9th.
I guess, yeah.
And so like maybe we started with like a strong black coffee, and now we're giving you a little bit of cream, a little macchiato experience maybe.
I like a macchiato.
Add a little vanilla syrup maybe for your tasting pleasure, and maybe go down just a little bit easier, so that if your friends are not like down with just like bitter black strong coffee, you can be like, hey, this is a vanilla steamer, which is just steamed milk with vanilla.
Sounds good to me. And so what we're going to encourage you to do, not only verbally here right now, but also I'll try and remember to put it in the newsletter and in the Discord itself, but we'd love to encourage you to ask questions of us, whether it's about the game that we're playing or whether it's about just questions you have for us. We reserve the right to answer as much or as little as we are able to share or personally would like to share. But we would love to hear if you have anything you're curious about, and we'd love to have more of that dialogue with you.
Yeah, and again, it's a good chance for us to get to know you a little bit better. We love to learn about our community. It's one of the best parts of being in the Discord and getting to chat with you all.
Yes. And also, don't feel restricted by asking questions. If you just have maybe a thought about a game that you'd like to share and include in the podcast, like have us read it out, please feel free. We can't guarantee we can fit all of them in, and depending on just timing and stuff, but we will do our best to try and make sure that your voices are being heard as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we'll be recording like on a more weekly basis as well, it gives us a chance to hear more of those thoughts as they come in during the game time.
Yeah. But That's enough housekeeping.
That's enough housekeeping.
We don't want to do that anymore. We want to find out what we're playing.
Yes. So what is it?
It is a wonderfully witchy game filled with intrigue, sisterhood, community, politics. Yeah, this game has everything.
It's got it all.
We are going to be kicking off September by playing the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. This game is by the Deconstructeam, published by Devolver Digital. And before we dive into the Steam page, we're switching up the order. We're going to watch the trailer just so that you can see it if you haven't yet. As always, Joel is the one coming fresh with a fresh perspective to the trailer. And so we'll be reacting to the trailer, and then we'll dive into the details of what the game is about, as well as why we're picking it. So are you ready to watch the trailer?
Ready. Let's get into it.
All right.
Oh, we've gone from housekeeping to being kept in a house. I'm already immediately in with this art style.
Yeah, the pixel art is so good. Oh, it's so pretty.
That romper, though. Come on. We're getting Sailor Moon
I know, this
transformations?
is the magical girl, dreams.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Throwing the card down. These character designs.
The characters are so beautiful. All of them are gorgeous.
Got a little Hecate shout out there, perhaps.
Ooh.
Oh, road trip? Is there a road trip in this game?
There's pizza?
We're making pizza. Oh, let's get to actually design your deck.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Ooh.
Okay. What?
Wake up.
What does that mean?
The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood.
But what does that mean? Wake up, though.
Grab a brush. Put a little makeup.
What does it mean that at the end we saw a character on puppet strings? What does it mean, Jenny?
I don't know. It could mean a lot of things. So we just watched the trailer for the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. Just before we dive into things, what are some of your gut reactions?
This looks like a ride. Like an absolutely wild ride. Like there were so many elements of that trailer. Like we do these reactions a lot, and it's like, okay, I generally see like the thread of the story that we're following.
Right.
You opened up by seeing a witchy-looking woman in a space house.
Yep.
We saw a group of women on a beach on like a road trip. We saw people making pizza. We saw these giant demon-looking fellers. I know you can't tell me, but what is happening? I want to know what's going on. Oh my gosh,
there is so much going on. What I love about this trailer too is that it just does not stop. Like the pacing of this trailer, sometimes trailers will slow down and let you absorb the dialogue or look at the environment. And, so, there's a rule, it's like you want to let the audience breathe and be able to absorb what they're seeing. This trailer is just kind of like, nope, we got to keep going because things are happening and we just need to keep moving. And I
don't want to breathe anymore.
Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
Yeah. Super excited. So the game again, Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. I guess, Joel, did you want to read the Steam description?
Yes. Immerse yourself in an enchanting narrative experience as Fortuna, a fortune teller witch condemned to exile on her asteroid home. Craft your own tarot deck, regain your freedom, and shape the fate of the Cosmic Witch Society.
Whew.
That's a lot of responsibility.
I love that you use that word because we're going to be talking about fault and responsibility quite a bit this month.
Okay.
Just light themes.
Light themes.
What I love about this game is not only does it have a really strong narrative focus, this is a narrative game, you will be reading a lot, but this has one of the most interesting twists on card and deck building that I've seen in ages, where instead of a traditional deck building game where you're playing and combating with cards, you are actually using this deck, this sort of tarot-esque deck that you're actually creating like in an image editor in the game to read I don't know if they call it fate or read sort of what's going to happen or predict,
it's a cosmic wheel. It's got to spin.
Wheel,
You gotta interpret.
So it's a really interesting, again, twist on this card mechanic. There's branching narratives, and so choice as a player is going to be really interesting, and I'm going to be super excited to see what you pick as your choices, what you all pick at home for your choices. I've played through this game once already. I'm going to be playing it again. I usually play the games again as we play them throughout the month, but I'm very excited for this one in particular because I'm very interested to see how different choices may shift some of what happens in this game.
She's such a pro, isn't she? Incredible.
I try.
Incredible. So we're dealing with these topics of responsibility. We are, can you share anything about pour over materials in advance, or is it too soon to reveal?
I can share a little bit, especially with this first week. So one of the things, because one of the things that's structurally interesting about this game, and that I'll say now to sort of prep you so that you can like really start thinking about how the game does this, is the game starts, you're in exile. You're essentially in solitary confinement. And so when I started playing the game, I thought a lot about the nature of punishment, about confinement, especially we have solitary confinement here in the real world, and the impact and effect it has on people. And so we'll be delving into that the first week. As the game progresses, you will gradually expand from being in solitary confinement to gaining sort of this, or I guess reconnecting with some of the sisters in your coven. And so you're going to start to see the ways that community kind of can build, which has been a recurring theme.
It turns out community is important to us.
Yeah, in many of our games. But what I love about this game is it doesn't stop there. By sort of the third major act of this game, we are going to see the ways in which things like punishment, fault, responsibility not only affect an individual, but your group of maybe immediate friends and sisters, and then greater society. So you're going to see it at three sort of major points of view, but it's going to be embedded and interwoven with lots of other drama, lots of other wonderful story. World building in this game is really astounding. I love the way that they did it. If you are a reader, again, I think you're going to find a lot of different sort of nuggets to delve into. They do have a lot of lore in this game, which I loved.
Yeah, y'all know I'm a lore fiend.
Yes, I think you will. Oh, I'm excited to see what you get
into.
Give
it to me.
Because you get into the lore in ways that I don't. And so I'm excited to see what connections you make as you read some of those like extra materials in the game that don't directly connect to the story, but they're definitely there and they definitely hold weight.
Yes.
So very
also
excited.
Just like visually, obviously you get to kind of build your cards and deck. Like the visuals of those cards that you're building that we got to see so far look so cool.
Yeah.
So, yep, very excited for that.
Yes. Let's see. Any other reasons why I want to make sure to highlight? I think, again, fault and responsibility. Just keep on thinking about those two phrases, those two concepts. Responsibility as a player with given choices, I think is really interesting. So just very excited to see where we go. If you're pumped about this game, you're playing it, you really like it, I also encourage you to check out Deconstructeam's previous titles. They have the Red Strings Club and Essays on Empathy. So those will probably pop up as other pour over materials recommendations, where if you can't get enough from this team. But what I love is that this is a definite step up from the other two titles.
Awesome.
You can see the way that the team has really grown into themselves, into their storytelling, into their craft. So it's really exciting. And yeah, the last thing is there's a statement actually in one of the trailers. I don't think it was the launch one. I think it was it was like the release date trailer. And I want you to think of this specific statement or these two sentences as you play. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility.
Oh, I feel that one in my bones.
Yeah. So as you play, again, thinking about the ways you have that 3-act structure from individual to group to society, thinking about fault and responsibility. How do your feelings evolve? Maybe they don't. Maybe they change significantly. Keep that in mind as you play.
Awesome. This is Very exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
when you pulled up the trailer and we saw that it had what I believe you have coined as witchy goodness, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's just like a fun little witchy game for the fall. It's like, oh no, we're getting into some very cool themes and topics.
Oh,
So,
yes.
very excited for
Yeah,
this.
this is going to go a lot of places. And what I love about this game, and what was a really big challenge for me, and still is I'm kind of still formulating some of the later questions and thoughts for the newsletters, is what to even focus on, because the game provides so much just like meat to dig into. And so what I love is, like, I will be providing certain questions and highlighting certain things, but it is by no means comprehensive in the sense of like, this is all you can get from the game. So as we play, if you find yourself gravitating towards different themes or different storylines, or as you play, if different things pop up, because again, it's a branching narrative, so I may have only hit part of it through my one playthrough. Please open up that dialogue. Let us know what you're encountering and what are you really resonating with as you play.
Yes. Very exciting. Yay. Very exciting.
Bonus news before we go to our first ever second segment of the show. But check your emails for that newsletter if you have signed up already to Geeks and Grounds, because thanks to Devolver Digital, huge shout out to Jess, the influencer strategist there, we are able to do a giveaway to all newsletter subscribers. If you subscribe to the newsletter and you respond to the question that I put in about this game, just answer that question. Super easy. It's not a hard one. There's no wrong answer. Make sure you respond by August 31st, Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. You'll be entered to win one of those two keys. It'll be a random drawing. I will just put everyone's names in a random number generator, click the button and let it do its thing. But that way you'll be set for the weekend if you're maybe unable to pick up the game on your own at this point in time. This is not a Game Pass game, so that's why I wanted to be sure and offer this giveaway to provide that opportunity for folks in case they're unable to pick it up and play immediately.
Excellent. And yeah, huge shout out to the studio for helping us out with that. Really love having the community get engaged like that.
Yeah. So on to the pastry case.
The pastry case. Now,
I feel like we need a song for it, but I don't have
pastry case. We've talked before about how I'm a lore fiend. I am also a cookie fiend, so pastry case is indeed the perfect title for this next segment.
I thought of you. Yeah, I was like, where is the inspiration? Again, we're moving to that weekly format. We'll have to skip next week because we are traveling and life is busy, but after that we'll be weekly. But the pastry case is always this kind of grab bag and mishmash of different treats and snacks and things that you can pick up, and this is our time to just share what else is going on in our lives, what we're playing, reading, watching, what we're doing, so you can get to know us better. We can just like have an opportunity to talk about other things, because I kind of like when we talked about Venba, we are not one note. We have full lives that we do multitudes. Other things. Yeah, so it's going to be nice to share and have this opportunity to just talk about other stuff.
Excellent. What are you getting into right now?
I think the same thing you're getting into.
Baldur's Gate 3. I have not played any other Baldur's Gate game. We've talked before. I am a D&D person.
Yep.
This game has consumed my life.
Every time I'm on Steam, I see you either in Baldur's Gate or the little pop-up comes up and it's like, Joel's playing Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm like, go, Joel, go.
Go, Joel, go. My good. Okay, so someone was like, hey, this Dungeons and Dragons thing, people seem to enjoy it. You kind of sit at a table, you tell a shared story together, there are choices, there's random luck and dice rolls to see how things work out. What if we found a way to do that in a video game form effectively? And they fucking did it, man. Like,
yeah. Okay. I will say, let me start with, I do very much adore this game. As someone who is not as immersed in the D&D world as Joel, who runs, I don't know how many different campaigns.
Only 2, and actually today is a big celebration. I just finished my first ever full campaign story arc today.
So cool.
Before coming over here. So really riding that high right now.
Amazing. Joel's an incredible DM. just storyteller, leader, just person in general. Actually, Joel's just incredible. Can we just shout Joel out for a second? Wow. But you have an understanding of D&D that I don't. I love this game, but let me tell you the anguish it caused me.
Yes.
The first battle, I was like, I have no idea what's happening. Zero. And I was hitting buttons, and then all of these circles with more options popped up. And then they don't even tell you like how many times can you cast a spell? I don't know. No one told me. Is this a possible thing to do? What's an action versus there's like the green
bonus
one
action
and the
versus
bonus
a reaction versus a movement. Yeah.
And also there was the first time I tried to move away from an enemy and they just smacked me. And I was like, what? And then apparently that's a thing where if you like disengage, you have to use a certain move to disengage.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
The nuance, which again, I think as someone who knows and loves D&D, that nuance is probably what sold you on it.
Yeah, I think this is a fair takeaway.
Yeah.
Like the game, okay, so we should say this game is incredibly popular right now. A lot of people are playing it that have never played D&D, have never played tabletop role playing games. So like, don't let it like put you off.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree with you that like they expect you to learn the UI in the midst of the battle, to learn the system, learn the mechanics. There is not a 2-hour-long tutorial teaching you the basics of how to operate this game. As someone who plays D&D NRL, that's fine. That didn't bother me at all. In fact, I appreciated it. But I could see how, like, if that has not been your experience, it would be like, okay, like, why does it say I'm out of actions? What does that mean? Like, why can't I cast a spell right now? I see the word. It says firebolt. Let me do firebolt.
Or like, what are these spells even? Like, what does damage and what doesn't?
Yep.
Like, there's but there's so much that initially it's just super overwhelming. I will say I loved, after a lot of angst, internal angst, I did appreciate that they didn't over tutorialize it, because I think if they had done that, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it.
I think this is it.
Yeah, because I think I am the player that as a developer, I kind of am like, God, no, because I will skip past tutorials.
Same. Hard same.
Do not read the instructions. I usually just kind of like, cool. I'll just figure it out as I go. And of course, I do that, and this game is like, okay, challenge accepted. Go.
It's like I think what they've figured out is it's a turn-based game, right? Turn-based game. So like you do the things that you can do, and then it's like there's a big blue button that says end turn. So like the thing that is confounding as a player is like, why can't I move another 5 feet? I don't understand. It just says end turn. I don't understand. But the UI essentially does not let you click things that you cannot actually do.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's like, I think that's how they've tried to balance this out, is by saying like, okay, like you're not going to understand off the bat, like why you can take certain actions at certain points.
Yeah.
However, we're just not going to like, it's all going to be grayed out. Like you're not going to be able to click that thing. But I totally hear you. I think this is a very real complaint.
Yeah. At the same time, the investment I have in my own character and the story arcs I have been able to encounter has got me so thoroughly invested. I am now cursing the fact that because I'm primarily playing on Steam Deck, because now at this point, the Steam Deck is my console of choice. I don't have to be at the computer. I can just like relax in bed and play. The Steam Deck's battery life when playing this game is so bad. The power it takes to just get this game working on the Steam Deck, I can see the percentage clicking down in real time.
This
and I'm
is
just
real.
like, oh my gosh, I just want to be able to play and not have to sit by an outlet. It's so good.
So the very first night, I really wanted to project my Steam Deck onto my TV and play with like a controller. I'm a console boy at heart. I have the Steam Deck. I'm a console boy. And so I have the Steam Deck like adapter to plug into your TV and charge at the same time. And I kid you not, I spent 3 hours on release night just trying to figure out how to get like my screen set up into something that I liked. And like my friend was like waiting for me so that we could play together for the opening.
No.
And like I'm sitting there just like drinking canned cocktails, like getting more and more frustrated and more tipsy trying to like figure this out. And we got it, and like now I'm on board. And honestly, like I think playing on the Steam Deck is actually like the difference between Steam Deck and the PC like clickable experience is like they did a really nice job, I think, adapting it. But because I really wanted to play on the big TV and I couldn't figure it out, I now have it was just like that was kind of a point of frustration for me. So it's not that it's perfect, but like for me, the best thing is they have made it so easy to join your friends' games and play that like that for me is like the communal aspect of D&D is the best part of D&D. And so it's like they found a way to include that where it's like, yeah, we're all there watching your dialogue choices and talking about what you should choose. And like, oh, you're trying to romance Shadowheart? I'm going to try and romance Shadowheart. Ooh. And like the game does not stop you from both romancing Shadowheart. You can both do it.
That's really good. I appreciate that. So are you romancing Shadowheart?
I'm romancing every goddamn person in this game.
Yeah, that's the way to play. Which I think you were the one who told me, but they know that and some of them don't like that. Which
some aren't really cool with it. Some are very much like, hey, I know you got a thing going on with Shadowheart. That's fine, but I don't mind.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have very much loved every character moment that I've gotten. I have still not progressed very far in any of the main story things because I've just been so enamored with the details that they've put in this game. But yeah, so that's what I've mostly been spending time on besides work is like I do work, Geeks and Grounds, and Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate, baby. Yeah, that's been really good. And I'll also shout out, this is not a video game, but Jenny let me borrow a new book by Brandon Sanderson.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Tress and the Sleepless Sea? Endless Sea? Tress and the Spore Sea. Sea Spore. Sea of Spores. Sea of Sleep. Tress and
not trees.
The Tress and this book by Brandon Sanderson takes place in the Cosmere, which is his giant lore.
Tress of the Emerald Sea.
Oh, I wasn't even close.
Me neither.
I just finished this book.
Sorry. No, this is totally rude of me, but because I was on my phone and Lee, Joel's wife, texted me. We're both very big fans of the Hobonichi planners. And they just announced the Mother 2 collaboration between Hobonichi and Mother 2, Earthbound. So I am just like, I'm okay. I will set it down.
You want to get into
we're gonna have a planner talk
planner life. Yeah, this could be another part of our pastry case as we move forward. So I guarantee you, I felt my phone vibrate. I guarantee you I am also getting text messages about this from my wife about this planner.
Yes, but sorry, please finish your
No, I was just going to say, thank you for letting me borrow it. Like, Jenny got me into Brandon Sanderson books back in like 2015 when we were working together.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for like Tress specifically, a fantasy book that does not use like heavy, silly, like high fantasy language. It's like normal people talking. And it's also a swashbuckling pirate story, which good. I haven't really read one in like years.
Yeah.
It's so good. So thank you for letting me borrow it. I loved it. One of my favorite reads of the year so far.
That makes me so happy. It's been one of my favorite reads of the year so far too. Brandon Sanderson writes this, I think in, I don't know where, but somewhere in the, he has an author's note where he talks about how he was really inspired by both The Princess Bride for this book. So if you're a fan of The Princess Bride, that is definitely like a keystone.
You're right. It has that energy.
Yeah. Where it's just like very fairy tale-esque, but like, yeah, it's just so beautiful. But he also was really inspired to write something for his wife specifically. So I thought that was really sweet that this was like a sort of story for her initially, and then she was like, you need to push this out to the world because it's so good, and I'm really happy that she said that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Highly recommend.
Yeah, it's a world. I feel like we can set the world stage a little bit. So this is a world where instead of the seas being water as we know it, it is a sea of plant spores.
Yeah.
I guess poisonous plant spores.
Yes, that is, if any of them interact with water, like wild things happen.
Yeah.
And I thought this description in the book was such a good way of understanding it, because like when I heard like sea of spores, I was imagining like a whole bunch of like little balls that ships are somehow floating on. I was like, I just don't understand that. And he compares it to when you put sand on a speaker, and if you have not seen this video on YouTube, it is so cool. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
But essentially, like when you put sand on a speaker and like have it like vibrating really fast, it actually starts acting like a liquid. And he's like, he references this in the book as like, if you've ever seen sand like on a speaker, like that's what you can imagine this is like. And I was like, I get it. I'm right there. I totally get it now.
Yes.
So the world is made up of these different colored, like one color in one place, spores. Like there's a green area, there's a red area, a black area, etc.
Yeah.
And Tress goes on a swashbuckling adventure to try and
so good
find and save the boy she loves.
Reunite with the boy she loves. And it's a simple, tried and true kind of premise, I feel like, but the way that this story is told is so much fun.
He subverts every trope, and because of who the narrator is, which I will not spoil.
Oh yeah.
He tells you that he's subverting the trope. It's like, yeah, you would expect that in most situations the character would run headlong in and just make this assumption. But that's not what's going to happen right now.
Yes. And I will say, this is originally with Brandon Sanderson, I would start with like Mistborn as a recommendation.
That is always the starting point.
If any of you have not read and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in hopping in, Mistborn is a very good starting point. Like the first Mist is a trilogy. You'll also learn Brandon Sanderson is a prolific writer, like the most prolific writer, and he writes fast. Mistborn actually is set up to be a trilogy of trilogies, just random lore here. The first trilogy is really good. The second, in my opinion, is kind of middling. I've tried so many times to start it, and I've never yet finished. It's a Western themed version in this world. But anyways, I digress because I'm just excited. Mistborn has always been my go-to recommendation for Sanderson. I think that may have been the way. Yeah, that's how I got you in.
Yeah.
I think Tress may be like depending on who I'm talking to. Tress may be an entry point, I think, for folks who are totally brand new. The only thing that would stop me from recommending Tress like wholeheartedly to everyone is that it has so many wonderful Easter eggs for folks familiar with the series. If you have read all of Brandon Sanderson's books, you will get so many fun little Easter eggs that are just an absolute joy to discover as a reader, and will make you like, I immediately started reading all of his books again after reading Tress, because I was like, I need to remind myself of all this lore, because he's created what he has called, he's dubbed the Cosmere, where all of his books essentially are interwoven and happening in the same universe.
Yes.
He's one of those writers.
One of those people that we love.
I know. I'm like, please keep doing it. I am a sucker.
It's a good point. So I would say like
universes.
Tress, definitely a standalone story. You could read it. It's not going to do anything else. Like you'll have a great time.
Yep.
But you would definitely have to come back to it after you read his other books, because there is so much happening that you're like, what? I can't believe that's happening. And like, if you're reading it as your first book, you would not have that reaction to some of those big moments.
Yeah, you'll still have those reactions.
Yes, just not to like those specific things.
Yeah.
To other things.
Yeah, I'm so glad you read it.
Yeah.
Really
so great.
Yay. Anything else you've been up to?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
Work sucks, I know. Left me roses by the stairs.
Surprise. Let me know if she cares.
How did you know that?
Say it ain't so.
Wow. Wow. I will go, however. We're getting towards the end.
We are. Let's see. I guess thanks for listening. Again, Geeks and Grounds, you can find us at geeksandgrounds.com. That's where you can sign up for the newsletter, find the social channels we're on. It's our one-stop like hub. But the weekly newsletter is definitely where to go for all of the details about the game that we're playing this month. Again, the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. And we'll have the podcast that, again, next week we're not going to be able to do a podcast, but after that we'll be on a weekly basis.
So excited for this, and excited to get to engage with you guys more often. So this is like really exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
So from all of us at Geeks and Grounds, don't tarry, tarot. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm sorry.
I think that was close enough.
All right. Thanks, everyone.